Welcome to Trust Talks with BBB Serving CT. I'm Kristen Johnson. In business, trust talks, and Better Business Bureau's mission is to enhance marketplace trust. In each one of our episodes, we hope to give you a better idea of what to expect, what to look for, and what to look out for so you can spend your money wisely and avoid being scammed. And today, we're talking about curb appeal. It's the first thing your neighbors, visitors, and potential buyers will notice when they arrive at your home. You want to make sure the outside of your property is as appealing as possible with both softscapes, landscaping, and hardscapes like patios and pergolas. It sets the tone for the rest of your house. Baylor Brothers Incorporated, which has been accredited with Better Business Bureau for nearly 30 years, does both. Owner Josh Baylor joins us now to talk about landscaping as well as maintenance and what we should be doing to get our yards and our gardens ready for each season. Josh, thanks so much for being with us today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
So first of all, tell us a little bit about your company.
So my father and three uncles started the company in 1985, and they started mowing lawns and doing small landscape jobs, projects. And as hardscapes and pavers became more known and accessible, they jumped onto this hardscaping, as we call it today. So doing driveways with pavers, patios, outdoor kitchens, that type of thing. We really specialized in that. Got out of mowing and even got out of landscaping for a little bit and focused just on hardscapes and building that side of the business.
And just to clarify, you kind of touched on it, but what's the difference between hardscaping and landscaping?
So hardscaping is the patios, the walkways, the outdoor features such as pillars and outdoor kitchens and that type of thing. A lot of fire features we do. So it's really fun.
I bet. Well, let's talk about hardscapes a little more. What are the trends that you're seeing right now?
So in the last couple of years with COVID, people are spending more time at home. A lot of fire features, gas fire features. We're doing a lot of outdoor kitchens. More and more people are realizing that if they're going to have a grill, why not have a nice built-in grill and have an outdoor fridge there, or maybe a trash can, something that looks nice and is aesthetically pleasing.
When it comes to patios, which I imagine are probably the most popular hardscape, it's a little bit simpler, probably more accessible and easier to finance than, say, a full kitchen. So when we're talking about patios, what are some things that we need to consider?
So one thing we always say is it's what you see that matters. It's what you don't see that matters. So it's the base, making sure that you're digging out properly, knowing what types of soils that you're dealing with. Is it sandy? Is it clay? What are the drainage issues that you have? What are previous issues that you have at your house that need to be addressed before we put in something that's going to last for your lifetime? Let's make sure we address those things and address them and make sure that they don't happen again.
So there's stamped concrete and then there's pavers. What are the differences? What are the pros and cons of each?
So stamped concrete is poured concrete, and they use stamps and stamp it. We specialize in pavers, which we feel is better in New England with freeze-thaw cycles. The pavers move and have that ability to move. It has all the cracks in it, whereas stamped concrete can crack over time. Each has its place, and they're definitely, as Baylor Brothers, we specialize in the pavers.
Cost-wise, which is cheaper?
Stamped concrete will be cheaper for.
Okay, and then as far as maintenance, which is easier to maintain?
Probably the stamped concrete. You don't have to deal with the sand, the polymeric sand failing, some weeds and whatnot. But if you ever have an issue where you need to take out some pavers, stamped concrete, you can't take it out and replace it. Pavers are easy to fix, and you can do a repair on a basement or anything you need to do, put the pavers back down, and you never know that we were there. Whereas if it was stamped concrete, you'd have to jackhammer it out and you'd never be able to get it to match again.
So it sounds like long-term cost and maintenance-wise, the stamped concrete may actually cost more in the long run and at least require more maintenance.
It could, yes.
Okay. What about, people get these pavers, sometimes they move. I know ours have sort of settled and they're not all straight anymore. Can you hire a company to just go in and kind of fix the existing pavers that have shifted, or do you have to start from scratch?
No, 100%. We have a division, hardscape cleaning and maintenance. That's all they do. They'll come out, pressure wash pavers, clean them, re-level anything that needs to be re-leveled, fix it up. And I try not to say as good as new because I don't want to oversell it, but you can get back to looking how it was right in the beginning.
Very good.
Pretty close.
If you want to do that kind of work, what if they called you up, what would they want to ask for? What is that project called?
They would say they had some hardscape cleaning and maintenance that they want done.
Okay.
So we would ask them to send us some pictures of what they're looking to do. We could let them know if we could help them and make sure that we're not wasting each other's time and say, yeah, that's something that we could fix. Okay. And then we'll come out and give them an estimate on what they can expect.
You also do a lot of work around pools. At least that's what I've noticed from looking at your website. Are there certain companies or a certain company that you work with, or do the customers hire you separately from the pool company?
So we get hired separately from the pool company. I actually just came from a Giuliano's pool job, but we work with Aquapool a lot around the gunite pools. So we work with all different types of pool companies, and we're thankful for those opportunities.
We just talked about maintenance of patios, but what other kind of maintenance is involved with hardscapes?
So with the hardscapes, if you have an outdoor kitchen, you want to make sure that you're cleaning up the grease, or if anything got spilled, that you're cleaning it up in a timely fashion, ketchups and that type of stuff. You want to make sure that you're taking care of that. Wiping down your stainless every once in a while, even with a stainless cleaner or even a WD-40, just so that it doesn't rust and that you're taking care of these investments.
Especially where we live in this climate, you've got winter and snow and everything. Do you need to cover everything up?
We recommend that they cover it up. We tell people they don't buy a car and leave it out in the street all the time. Most people put their cars in garages. So we recommend that they get covers for their grills and fire features. That's a big thing. You don't want the water getting into the jets of the fire feature. Over time, it could plug up and you have a maintenance issue with the fire feature.
And now when we're talking about lawn care, there's landscaping and there's lawn maintenance. What are the benefits of hiring a landscaper? And what questions should we be asking?
So we feel the benefits of hiring people that are specialized in their field is beneficial to the homeowner, because you're getting people that specialize in certain things. My uncle would always laugh and joke around. If you have a problem with your foot, you don't go to a heart doctor, you go to a foot specialist. So we always had that type of mentality in our business, that we specialized in certain things, and then we have partners that we partner with that specialize in other things, that we can bring in the experts when needed.
Okay, and landscaping and hardscaping, they actually go hand in hand, correct?
Yes, 100%. The hardscapes is kind of goes in, but what makes it look good is the softscapes around it, and plantings and the flowers, the perennials, and then mulch or stone. It really dresses the place up, makes it look nice.
And when choosing a landscaping design, you can let the facade of your home be your guide?
Yes, 100%. When if you have a tall house, you want to make sure you're getting some height in your plants to bring them down, so that it's that your house isn't looking huge, and vice versa. If your house is low, you don't want some huge plants dwarfing your house to make it look like it's small. So you want to make sure you pick plants that fit the area.
And that might not be something we think of unless we hired a professional.
100%.
What are some of the ways landscaping and hardscaping can improve our home's curb appeal?
So the main thing is, when people walk up to your house, what do they see? They want to see a nice, beautiful lawn. They want to see a walkway maybe that's flat and straight or the curves look nice, however your house is. They want to see a project that's nice and clean and crisp, whereas you don't want them to walk up to a house and everything's overgrown and there's weeds coming up everywhere. So it's important.
Well, speaking of that, each season there are different things we should really be doing to our lawn and to our plants. So let's go through each season. Fall's coming up. What are some of the must-dos to get our gardens and our yards ready for fall?
So with the fall coming up, you want to make sure you're getting the leaves out of there. You don't want leaves building up in your plants and everything. And you want to blow out all the beds so that the leaves don't decompose there. And you just have dirt then on top of the mulch kind of, and just as an eyesore.
Can some of that work wait until spring? I mean, what's the harm of waiting until spring to rake the leaves? Okay, I'll be honest. I've waited until spring to rake the leaves. They're a little wet then. Or prune the rose bushes.
I just think it makes it look, you want your house to look nice.
Okay.
Taking the care and the time in each season is important to make sure that they can bloom in the spring needed. And it's just like a car. You want to make sure you're doing the maintenance on your car, changing the oil,
Gotcha.
checking the air in the tires. It's the same thing. You want to just make sure that everything is up to par.
Okay, so speaking of spring now, run down what should be on our agenda once the snow melts.
So what we like to do is make sure that there's no leaves and stuff built up in the corners of the houses.
Okay.
They could stain the pavers. You want to make sure that, same with your beds, you want to make sure those are clean. Some people like to cut grasses back in the fall. Some people like to leave grasses up for a little winter effect and cut the grasses back in the spring.
Okay.
So it's personal preference on that.
Is that protection, just protect the roots of the grass or the lawn? Or just...
It could, yeah.
Okay.
It could protect them a little bit from the frost. So.
And then I suppose the heat and the amount of rain we receive will probably impact what we are able to or should do in the summer, but anything that we need to be doing in the summertime.
Drainage is a big thing. You want to make
Okay.
sure, especially with all the rain we've been getting, make sure everything's draining properly away from the house. You don't want plants drowning, too much water. So those are things you want to watch out for.
Anything we need to worry about in the wintertime?
The winter, you want to watch out for ice. Make sure ice isn't building up in certain places that you don't want it. You're going to want to make sure that the snow is cleared off in certain places so that people aren't slipping and falling. And keeping your outdoor kitchens and grills and fireplaces covered so that the snow is just not sitting on them and that constant moisture.
Is it pretty safe to put salt or sand down on the stamped concrete or on those pavers?
Stamped concrete, not so much. The pavers that we use, the specific brand is Teco Block. They have a de-icing salt warranty. Again, I don't oversell anything.
Yeah.
But the company itself, Teco Block, does have a de-icing salt warranty that you can put those chemicals down on the pavers.
Okay, very good. What are the benefits of hiring a professional to do this work? We already talked about, the size of the shrubs in comparison to the house and some ideas that we might not know otherwise, but talk about some of the other benefits of hiring a professional.
Some benefits we feel are you're hiring a company that's established, that if there's a problem, somebody's going to answer your call. If you call our office, Natalie will be there. She'll answer your phone call and we'll address it. We'll take care of it. We're not perfect by any means and we have issues, but we take care of them and do what we need to do to make sure our customers are taken care of. We definitely feel doing the right thing is take care of our customers.
If your budget is tight, what can you do yourself and what should you leave to a professional?
So we're going to start a job on Monday. The homeowner's going to do all their own removal, right? They want to save some money. So they're going to take out their own pavers, maybe sell them on Facebook Marketplace or get rid of them, tell them people come pick them up. So that way they don't have to pay us to haul them away. And they're taking care of that part. They're going to remove the shrubs and then we're going to just take out the stumps, whatever we need to do with our equipment and do all the heavy lifting per se with our equipment.
Any other cost-saving suggestions that you have for those of us who may have a tight budget? Either for hardscapes or landscaping.
Yeah. If you have a general master plan of what you want to do at your house, you can phase those out over a couple of years. But you want to make sure you have a plan in place so that you're not doing things 2 and 3 times. So having a master plan for your whole backyard and moving forward with those steps as needed, you can save money year after year going back instead of spending more money to redo things that could have been thought of in the beginning.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, BBB offers some tips when considering hiring an outdoor living professional. So let's go through each one and I'll get your take on these. The first is research and gather. Once you've decided what services you need in your budget, get recommendations from friends and neighbors with lawns you admire. Would you say a lot of your business does come from word of mouth?
Yes. By 75%.
Wow. So it's important for people to leave reviews then when they have a good experience,
100%.
right? That's really important. Have a clear scope of work before asking for estimates. This includes defining the area to work on and what you want to be done. And it's really important when you're comparing apples to apples when getting estimates from various companies, right? You want to make sure you have the same information in each.
For sure. On our website, actually, one of our most downloaded forms is our contractor comparison contractor comparison sheet, and people download it, print it off, and that way you can go through and get your different estimates and go through that checklist. If somebody else is checking all the boxes, the same boxes, and you feel comfortable with them, it's worth it. That if you can save some money, and we tell people to use that resource all the time.
Oh, very good. What are the best ways to look for differences in bids?
Just read through the fine print. I think looking at the details on the plans is important. Making sure, if you're talking about pavers, what kind of pavers are they going to use? Are they a high quality paver or is it a lower end paver? Some pavers are more expensive than others. What are we talking about? Are we comparing apples for apples?
Okay, yeah, make sure that each business has included the same services in their contract, right?
100%.
Otherwise, you're not really comparing the same thing. Ask for references and pictures of other jobs they installed or maintained. Now, your website is a great showcase of your work, but we know there are scammers out there. It's easy for dishonest business owners to just lift pictures off the website and create their own website and claim it as their own work. So what are the red flags we should be looking for when doing our research online?
I think talking to people, real people that you know, is important. Talk to your neighbors. Chances are somebody you know has had a bad experience to weed some contractors out. So make sure you're talking to those people. Talk to as many people as you can. Never hurts to ask questions. And we have what we call a client reference list.
Oh, great.
And there's hundreds of customers in there with their name, number, address. And we encourage people, call them. A lot of times people say, "Oh, I didn't know you worked at the Smith's house." They're our neighbors, and they'll go over and look, and how was your experience? And so we found that to be extremely good.
That's wonderful. That's a great tip for other business owners listening to this as well. I think that's really good because friends and family can be the best references, but going and being able to see it in person for yourself, that takes it one step ahead. So that's great. Really, really good tip. Now get specifics on prices and be clear on what services are included. Obviously, it's going to depend on the project, but in general, say it's a patio, do you space out payments? We always say never pay in full at the beginning, right? You want to wait and see at least some of the work's been done.
Yes. So the way our payment structure works for our bigger projects, we like to get a third up front, get you on the schedule, and we'll get your material ordered and finalize everything, make sure everything's good. And then we'll start digging out your project and we'll have it prepped. And our supplier, we usually use New England Silica, will bring the material when we're ready for it, and we require the second third when materials are delivered.
Okay.
And then final third when you're all done and completely satisfied with the way it came out.
And that is the same whether it's a hardscaping project or a landscaping
Yes.
project. Okay.
And if it's a smaller job and we don't want to do have multiple interactions. If we feel like it's too much, we'll just do 50% up front to get you on the schedule, and then 50% when you're totally satisfied.
And another tip we have is to check if the provider needs a license to work in your area. So what licenses or certifications, if any, should we be asking to see?
Definitely a home improvement contractor's license. And we feel it's important to be part of things like the Better Business Bureau, the Home Builders Association. For us, it's the NCMA and ICPI. These are just bodies that tell us best practices to how to do certain things for building retaining walls and doing pavers. We feel that those types of organizations are important, and they set us apart from the average contractor.
And that gets us to our next tip, which is look for memberships in professional organizations as well. So that's another good question to ask. And then get everything in writing and read all agreements and contracts carefully. So if we're doing a hardscape project, what should we be in the contract? What should be in the contract? What is pretty standard?
You want to make sure that removal, dig out, are they hauling everything away? Or are you responsible for that? Or are they planning to leave it on site somewhere? Or do you have things that just go through each and every facet of where you're going to be working and talk about, okay, this is staying, no, this is going, and make sure everybody's on the same page. That way, when the contractor shows up with equipment, what's getting done is what you want to get done.
Is that the same for a landscaping project?
Yes. You'll want to make sure that you're not ripping out a plant that you wanted to save or that you got from your grandmother. Mm-hmm. That's a family heirloom, and the guys showed up and just demolished it. And
also list the quantity, the size, the types of plants, and all the other materials that will be involved in this project.
100%.
And look for guarantees and refund policies as well, such as, if the tree dies in less than a year, are you going to be able to get a new tree or a refund? What's going to happen from there?
We guarantee our plants for a year.
Okay.
Not that they live a year, but when they do die, we replace them.
Right.
And our pavers, we have a 5-year warranty on all hardscape projects.
And then ask about timing and safety. Will the work be done while you're at home, or aware there are safety precautions you need to take during or after the work is completed? Is that typically also in a contract?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. So what do you usually tell your clients who ask those types of questions?
So I always try to under-promise and over-deliver. So if I think it's going to take 2 weeks, I'll let them know it could take 2 to 3 weeks depending on the weather. And I found customers are happier when you can come in under time than when it's overtime. And just being upright with customers and doing the right thing, customers appreciate that. And just if something goes wrong, say, hey, I apologize, this went wrong. We're going to fix it, remedy the situation. But being upfront and not trying to cover things up, that's extremely important. Integrity is important for us.
Yeah, don't set them up for disappointment, right?
Exactly.
What question would you say you get asked the most, and what question do you wish you were asked more often?
So I think what we get asked the most is how long is it going to last, right? But we don't know. There's so many variables here in New England. We do the best we can each and every job. But one thing I do know for sure, if there's an issue, I'm going to take care of it, and we're going to remedy the situation. So I get asked that a lot, or ask me why something's failing or why it's doing this. If I just be honest, if I don't know, I don't know. But if I do know, we're going to make a solution and tackle it and get it done.
Any question that you think should be asked more often that clients maybe don't think about? Maybe it's not a fun question and they're focused so much on the pretty parts of the design and they forget about something else?
A lot of times what happens is we have a pretty extensive contract and we ask people to initial it all the way down through. And sometimes on a bigger project, we won't include maybe site restoration. We don't know how much of a mess or how much rain we're going to get because a lot of that. So we tell them at the end of the project, we can let you know how much it's going to be. On certain projects, we do this, and it's on the contract and they initial it. but sometimes they're so excited and caught up in the moment of what they're gonna get, they forget about some of the other things. And those are things that I wish people, they're spending a lot of money in their yards, and sometimes it boggles my mind what they thought they were getting and what they're not getting.
Okay. Well, my last question, as I mentioned off the top, you've been with BBB for nearly 3 decades now. What does that accreditation mean to your business, and what do you hope it says to your customers?
We hope that people know that they can trust us and that we do the right things. And as I mentioned before, we feel these types of organizations are important. And contractors in general, we have a bad rap. And as second generation, I want to change that. My father and uncles have always taught me and my cousins to do the right thing no matter what. And I feel like these organizations, we can all help each other do that and do the right thing, because doing the right thing will always make you money in the long run. So it's important not to look only to tomorrow. You might lose on this one job, but it'll pay dividends years and years down the road.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for being with us and sharing your insight, educating everyone out there who's looking to do some landscaping on what they should be looking out for. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Josh Baylor with Baylor Landscaping out of South Windsor.
Yes.
Thanks again. And as we talked about, obviously friends and family can be a great resource, but so can BBB.org. So go to BBB.org, look at the reviews, look at the complaints, look at how these companies handle those complaints. And then you can actually get a quote right there for up to 3 different landscaping companies in your area, and that can help you decide which company you want to go to. That does it for Trust Talks. We'll see you with the next episode, which will be on car repair. So something a little different. Instead of winterizing our lawns, we're going to talk about winterizing our cars and what we need to do to not only get ready for the winter season, but how to find a good repair shop. Thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Nick Augustino right here at the East Side Restaurant. We always have the complete full dinner menu. Knockwurst, bratwurst, sauerbraten, potato pancakes, red cabbage, rice pudding, cream pies, all the desserts that Germany had to offer. I always do something different. Yes, I do. I brought seafood to the beer garden at the East Side Restaurant. East Side Restaurant, your German destination restaurant in Connecticut. Tiki-taka, hoi, hoi, hoi!
I'm your host, Kurt Barwis. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Andrew Lin.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name is Chuck Wooden.
Decision for ourselves for this week, if we want to be made well.
Hi, welcome to the crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi. I'm starting the painting. It's going to be the cliffs with some water. Love it.
He took me on the sets of Lost in Space, Batman.
Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time.